Welcome once more, dear students of the first year English literature. Let's go to page number 84, your textbook, 84, 84. We now have some signs, some marks of transformation in Nora's character. When Helmer states that, or saying that, Dr. Rank led me to expect a splendid transformation. He said to me that I'm going to have a splendid transformation in Nora. And by that, he means transformation in character. Okay, so it has an implicit meaning. Rank in the doorway because he paid a visit to them, announcing his near death. I understand so, but evidently I was mistaken. Yes, nobody is to have the chance of admiring me in my dress until tomorrow. This is Nora. Nobody is to have the chance of admiring me in my dress until tomorrow. This dress is a new dress, which means a new character, a transformation in Nora's character. So this is one sign of the transformation we find in the character of Nora. We have other signs as well. But my dear Nora, you look so worn out, so exhausted. Have you been practicing too much? No, I haven't been a practice at all, but you will need to. Nora, yes, indeed I shall, Torvald. Indeed I shall practice. But I can't get on a bit without you to help me. So she's in need of her husband's help. Not in the dance, not in the dance really, but in enabling her, making her able to pass this difficult situation, okay, of her life. I have absolutely forgotten the whole thing about dance. We will soon work it up again, work the dance up again. Yes, help me. She urges her to help her not in the dance. Of course, the superficial meaning in that she asks for his help in the dance, but implicitly, in deep within Nora, she asks for her help with her agony, her social and moral agony. Help me, Torvald. She means help me out of my problems, not choosing the dress. Promise that you will. I am so nervous about it. All the people, you must give yourself up to me entirely. Give me yourself up to me. Be faithful and loyal to me this evening, not the tiniest bit of business. You mustn't even take a pen in your hand. You have to become wholeheartedly devoted to your wife. Will you promise, Torvald? I promise this evening I will be wholly and absolutely at your service. You helpless, indeed she is. You helpless little mortal. By the way, first of all, I will just go toward the whole door. What are you going to do there? Only see if any letters have come. So he goes to the letter box to check out if there anything inside. Oh no, don't do that. Oh, she is so afraid. Why not? Torvald, please don't. There is nothing. There is nothing there. At this moment, at this critical moment of her life in this household, when she feels the threats, when she feels dangers, she resorts to dancing. So dancing is a kind dancing the tarantella, of course, this Italian dance. Dancing is a kind of an escape, an outlet, an escape from her miserable life. It's a kind of a gate to freedom, an exit behind which lies freedom and liberty. Dancing. Well, let me look. Turn us to go to the letter box. He wants to check out the box. At this moment, Nora at the piano. She goes to the piano, plays the first bars of the tarantella. She wants to have his attention. She wants to distract him from opening the letter box. She doesn't want him to know the secret, to tear up the letter. She plays to tarantella. So she plays the tarantella, this type of music and dance, of course, to dissuade him. Okay, to dissuade him, to distract his attention. And this time, she plays not out of happiness. She plays the tarantella, this music, this piece of music, not out of happiness as an expression of happiness. No, it is an expression of her sadness, indeed. Sadness. And this is a kind of a change as well, transformation. Helmer stops in the doorway when he listens to the tarantella being played. Aha. And says, aha. I can't dance tomorrow if I don't practice with you. I want to dance now, right now, to practice. So Nora's dance is, please write this down, very important. Nora's dance is a physical equivalent. معادل جسدي موضوعي. You have a meaning inside, which is expressed through a physical action. Okay, so this dance is a physical equivalent of her fear. It's a physical equivalent of her fear, her sadness, of course, and her energetic, okay, her energy, how energetic she moves during this dance, okay, expresses to what extent she is afraid. So this dance, as I said, is a physical equivalent of her fear, and how energetic she moves quickly during this dance is an expression of her, or is an expression of how much she feels afraid. How much is her fear? Going up to her, are you really so afraid of it, dear? And this pronoun it doesn't mean the party, not the party, but, the exposition, the revelation of the secret. She's so afraid of that. So dreadfully afraid of it. I am so dreadfully, so awfully afraid of it. Let me practice at once. There is time now. Before we go out to dinner, sit down and play for me. Torvald dear, criticize me. Try to correct me if I make something. Correct me as you play. With such pleasure, with great pleasure. If you wish me to, sits down at the piano, starts playing the piano, takes out of the box a tambourine. The tambourine is what we call in Arabic this musical instrument. We call in Arabic الدف الصغير أو الرق. الدف الصغير. And she takes out a tambourine and the long variegated shawl. She hastily wraps the shawl around her. She wraps herself in the shawl. Then she springs to the front of the stage, so that she becomes opposite directly to the audience and calls out, now play for me, I am going to dance. He plays and Nora dances in harmony. There is a kind of harmony at this moment, but indeed there is not. Both play for different purposes. He to feel her happiness, but indeed she doesn't feel happiness. She is so afraid. She is so fearful. So sad. Rang stands by the piano behind Helmer and looks out on them. He watches them, this activity. Helmer, as he plays, he tells her, slower, slower. She's so energetic, so powerful, moving around here and there. I can't do it any other way. It's an expression, as I told you before, of her mental state, her fear of being exposed to the society. Not so violently, Nora. So the dance expresses her anxious mood. Not so violently, Baraha. This is the way. He stops playing. No, that is not a bit right. Nora laughing and swinging the tambourine. Didn't I tell you so? Rank, let me play for her instead of you, Helmer, instead of you. Let me take that. He gets up Yes, do. I can correct her pattern then. Rank sits down instead of Helmer at the piano and plays. Nora dances more and more wildly, more and more energetically, okay, vibrantly, with vigor, vigorously, بنشاط بحيوية, even more. Helmer has taken up a position beside the stove, and during her dance, gives her frequent instructions on how to dance, slowly, not violently. She doesn't seem to hear him. She is in another world of her own. Her hair comes down and falls upon her shoulders. She pays no attention to it. She doesn't care now, but goes on dancing. At this moment, enter Mrs. Lind. She stands as if spellbound, مش قادرة تتكلم, ساكتة, in the doorway. Oh, shocked. As she dances, Nora, such fun, Kristen. What do you think? Such fun. My dear darling Nora, you are dancing as if your life depended on it, on this dance, on the revelation of your secret, on the fear of being exposed to the society. Okay. Then move to maybe a third sign of her transformation, Nora's transformation in character, of course. Page 88. When the maid comes in, announcing that, the maid says, dinner is served, madam. Dinner is ready, madam. We will have champagne. Nora, for the first time ever, says that she's going to drink champagne. Helen, very good, madam. Helmer, hello. It's an expression of astonishment. He can't believe that. Are we going to have a banquet? A formal meal? A banquet is a formal meal for special occasions. Are we going to have a banquet? Yes, a champagne banquet till the small hours. Calls out, and a few macaroons. Remember the macaroons? Which Helmer keeps on preventing her from eating throughout the entire play. Okay? Give me some macaroons as well, in addition to the champagne. Helen, lots. And then correcting this word. Instead of few, she says lots of macaroons. Just for once, Helmer, just for once. So the dance, the champagne, the tarantella are all expressions, loud expressions, physical equivalents of her change of character or transformation, her expression of the new freedom she has acquired. Come, don't be so wild and nervous. Be my own little skylark as he used. Don't change. So he shows some signs on his part of refusing that kind of a transformation or change in Nora. Okay, go to Act 3, on page number 90, we have a conversation between Mrs. Lind and Krugstad in which they declare facts, unknown facts for the first time, and she's going to reveal some very important information to him, and maybe he's going to help Nora. Page 90. When Mrs. Lind says, no, you have never properly understood me. Was there anything else to understand except what was obvious to all the world? A heartless woman. You were a heartless woman. Now we know that they had a love relationship in the past, Mrs. Lind and Krugstad. A heartless woman yells a man when a more lucrative chance turns up. Gelt a man. This verb, gelt, means end a romantic relationship all of a sudden. Suddenly. End a romantic relationship suddenly. When a more lucrative chance turns up. Lucrative chance larger chance or profitable chance, bigger chance turns up or appears. Do you believe I am so absolutely heartless as all that? And do you believe that I did it with a light heart so easily? Indeed not. Didn't you? Nels, did you really think that I am heartless? If it were as you say, why did you write to me as you did at the time? I could do nothing else. I had nothing to do with my hands. As I had to break with you, I had to do that. It was my duty also to put an end to all that you felt for me, all these love emotions or feelings. Krugstad wringing his hands. So that was it. All and all this. Only for the sake of money. You did that for money, not for me. You're a selfish, he means. You're a selfish, heartless woman. You mustn't forget that I had a helpless mother. These, she's going to relate the reasons why she left him and preferred money instead. I had a helpless mother and two little brothers. We couldn't wait for you. Now, your prospects seemed helpless. Your prospects, your hopes of a better future were hopeless then at that time. That may be so, but you had no right to throw me over for anyone else's sake. Indeed, I don't know. Many a time, it means many times, did I ask myself if I had a right to do it. More gently, when I lost you, it was as if all the solid ground went from under my feet. I felt that I have lost everything. My social life, and even my emotional life. Look at me now. I am a ship. This is very important. I'll underline this. I am a shipwrecked man, clinging to a bit of wreckage. A shipwrecked man clinging to a bit of wreckage. But help may be near. It was near. But then you came and stood in my way when you interfered in the life of the Torvalds and took away my position at the bank. Unintentionally, I didn't mean that, Nels. It was only today that I learned it was your places were going to take in the bank. It wasn't my fault. I didn't know about that. Never. Then on page number 92, a sequel or a completion of the same conversation between Mrs. Lind and Krugstad. She declares to him that, well, she says, Mrs. Lind, well, I am like a shipwrecked woman, just as he is a shipwrecked man in need of someone to hang on to. She is a shipwrecked woman clinging to some wreckage, the same situation. No one to mourn for, no one to care for. It was your own choice. There was no other choice then. Well, what now? How would it be if we two shipwrecked people could join forces? What do you think if we, as two shipwrecked people, could join forces, could marry? What do you think of us marrying? Let's marry. What are you saying? Two on the same piece of wreckage would stand a better chance than each on their own. We can do something if we help each other. Kristen, he doesn't believe that. What do you suppose brought me to town? Do you mean that you gave me a thought? Do you mean that you have ever thought about me? I couldn't endure life without work. All my life, as long as I can remember in the past. But that was only in the past. I have worked and it has been my greatest and only pleasure. Working. But now I am quite alone. And I feel so forsaken. She feels loneliness. There is not the least pleasure in working for oneself. Now give me someone and something to work for. Give me you. Then on page number 93, Mrs. Lind, I want to be a mother to someone, and your children need a mother. We two need each other. Now I have faith in your real character, in your true self, as a good man. I have faith in your character. I can dare anything together with you. I can face anything with you. Grabs her hands. Thanks, Christian. Now I shall find a way to clear. I shall find a way to clear myself in the eyes of the world. So she incites in him a sense of a change. He is enlightened. He sees himself in a new light as someone else, a new man. A new man has been born when he feels love or being loved by a woman like Mrs. Lind. I shall find a way to clear myself in the eyes of the whole world. He wants to change, real change, but how? So on page number 94, of your book, he says, Krugstad, if I could only undo, change what I have done, reverse what I have done. You cannot. Your letter is lying in the letter box now. Helmer's letter box. Are you sure of that? Quite sure. But with a searching look at her, is that what it all means, that you want to save your friend at any cost? Do you have these really? Do you really have these noble feelings? Tell me frankly, is that it? Now, a woman who has once sold herself for another's sake doesn't do it a second time. I will ask for my letter back. Krugstad is going to undo his sin or his fault. So we can say that he seeks purgation, repentance. يريد التطهر, purgation, repentance, and ندم التوبة. I will ask for my letter back. I will go to Helmer and ask him to give me my letter back from the box. No. Yes, of course I will. I will wait here till Herman comes. I will tell him he must give me my letter back, that it only concerns my dismissal. I will tell him that this letter contained something about my being dismissed from the work and nothing related to Nora at all, that he is not to read it. No one else. You mustn't recall your letter. Don't do that. Don't get your letter back from the box. But why? How? How come she objects him getting it back? It is for Nora's sake. He wants to change. But tell me, wasn't it for that very purpose that you asked me to meet you here? Mrs. Lind says, in my first moment of fright it was. At the beginning, I was so afraid, and I meant that. But 24 hours later have elapsed since then, and in that time I have witnessed incredible things in this house. Underline this part. Helmer must know all about it. Oh my God. She wants to reveal the secret. She wants Helmer to know about the secret. She wants him to read the letter. But why? This unhappy secret must be enclosed, must be told. They must have a complete understanding between them. They must have or reach an understanding, frankness, which is impossible with all this concealment. To conceal is to hide, and falsehood going on in this house. I'm doing that for Nora's sake. Then let's go to page 140, page 97. Go to page 97, 97, again, 97. We find a short conversation between Mrs. Lind and Nora, in which she reveals to Nora that she has talked with Krugstad and everything is okay. Mrs. Lind says in a low voice, I have had, because Helmer is nearby, I have had a talk with him, with Krugstad. Yes, and Nora, you must tell your husband all about it. In an expressionless voice, expressionless, it means emotionless voice. I knew it. I knew that he wouldn't go back on his word. I knew, it means I knew that he is a stubborn man and he would do it. He didn't change his mind. You have nothing to be afraid of as far as Kyrgyzstan. No, you don't understand. But you must tell him for your own sake, for this house's sake. I won't tell him. Then the letter will expose the fact. Then go to an even greater sign of change or transformation in Nora's character, which is located on page number 99. Page 99, another sign of the change that has befallen Nora. 99. Nora says to Helmer, don't look at me like that, Torvald, because after the party, after this fancy dress party, after the dance, she did very well at the party. He became very proud of her, very happy. Okay, and he looks at her in a way with temptation. Okay, don't look at me like that, Torvald. Why shouldn't I look at my dearest treasure, possession, something in hand, a doll, at all the beauty that is mine? You are mine. You are my peace. Oh, my very own. Oh, my very own. You are mine, aren't you? Going to the other side of the table, you mustn't say things, you mustn't. For this, look how her speech changes. Okay? Regarding Helmer, when she speaks to her husband, her speech changes. A different attitude. Now she has a different attitude. You mustn't say things like that to me tonight. You have still got the tarantella in your blood. Oh, it is very symbolic. You have still got the tarantella, the dance, in your blood, which means that you still have the revolution, the rebellion in your blood, because the tarantella, the dance, is a symbol of her revolution against Helmer to gain her freedom. Okay, this is one sign of the transformation. Then, on page number 104, 104, 104, again, the same conversation between husband and wife. Helmer, he says, empty the letter box. I'm going to empty the letter box. She asks him, where are you going? I'm going to empty the letter box. It is quite full. There will be no room to put the newspaper in tomorrow morning. I'm going to work tonight. We know quite well I am not. What is this? Someone has been at the lock. Oh. Someone has been at the lock. It means that someone has messed with the lock of the letterbox. Someone wanted to break into this letterbox. He wanted to open, someone, a thief maybe, to open the letterbox. At the lock? Yes, someone has. What can it mean? I should never have thought the maid. Here is a broken hairpin. In the lock, he grasps and holds a hairpin, a broken hairpin, which means that it was used to open the letterbox, the lock of the letterbox, but this attempt failed. Nora, it is one of yours. This hairpin belongs to you. So this means that Nora tried to break into the letterbox. Okay? She attempted to unlock the letterbox by using her hairpin. Then it must have been the children. Okay, this is another sign of transformation in her character. On the same page, 104, the same conversation between husband and wife, this fatal confrontation indeed. Nora at the window, find that please. Nora at the window. The letter, she's watching him from the window when he goes to the letterbox to check it out. The letter, no, Torvald, no, don't open it. 2 cards of ranks, So instead, he finds two cards sent by Dr. Rank. Oh, Dr. Rank is looking at them. Dr. Rank, they were on the top. He must have put them in when he went out. Is there anything written on them? There is a black cross over the name. Do you remember that? When he told Nora that he is going to send her a black cross on a card, which is a symbol of his nearby death, that he is in his final phase of life. The black cross is a symbol of death. Look there, what an uncomfortable idea. It looks as if he were announcing his own death. It does what he's doing. What? Do you know anything about it? Has he said anything to you? Yes. He told me that when the cards came, it would be his leave taking. This card is a kind of leave taking. يعني إذن بالخروج من حياتنا. From us, he means to shut himself up and die alone. Die alone. Then go to page number, which is very, very, very important. This is a catastrophe indeed. Now the denouement. It's in a way a denouement to Nora. You can consider the ending, the conclusion of this play as manifold, indeed twofold. لها نهايتين. Some may consider the ending as being a denouement or resolution on the part of Nora regarding Nora, because she's going to have her freedom at last. On the other side, some may consider it as being catastrophe because it means the destruction of the house. This familiar life is going to be destroyed. It's catastrophe to Helmer and his reputation, of course, his social life, and the children as well. Page 106. When Helmer says, kissing her on the forehead, "Good night, my letters, singing bird, sleep sound, Nora. Now I will read my letters through." He's going to read the letters. He brought or he fetched the letters, and then he's going to read them. He takes his letters and goes into the room. Shutting the door after him. Nora drops distractedly about, seizes Helmer's domino. The domino is a hooded cloak. يعني معطف له غطاء للرأس. Throws it round her. She puts it on as a sign of her final hope of having him on her side, his help, maybe. While she says in quick, hoarse, spasmodic whispers, never to see him again, never, never, puts her shawl over her head, never to see my children again either, never, again, never, never. The icy black water, the unfathomable depths. If only it were over. He has got it. Now he has got the letter. Now he is reading a goodbye to Torvald and my children. She's about to rush out through the hall. She's going to leave before he discovers that and confronts her with this fact, when Helmer opens his door hurriedly and stands with an open letter in his hand. The letter now is in his hand. The secret is finally revealed. Nora! What is this? Do you know what is in this letter, Nora? He is shot, of course. Yes, I know. Let me go. Let me go out. Holding her back. He holds her back. Where are you going? Trying to get free. Trying to get free from you, from this horrible social life with you. The restrictions you have laid upon my life throughout. You shan't save me, Torvald. Helmer reeling. True? Is this true that I read here? Horrible? No, it's impossible that it can be true. It is true. She now has the courage to confess her so-called crime, what he considers as being a crime. I have loved you above everything else in the world. Oh, don't let us have any silly excuses. Taking a step towards him, Torvald. Miserable creature, you are a miserable creature. What have you done? Let me go. You shall not suffer for my sake. You shall not take it upon yourself. Don't be afraid. I will take it. I will take it upon myself. I will be responsible for that. You will not be exposed. I will take all the blame. Okay? No tragedy heirs, please. Don't be tragic. Locks the whole door. Here you shall stay and give me an explanation right now. Do you understand what you have done? Answer me. Do you understand what you have done? Do you know what consequences this might bring upon us? Looks steadily at him and says with a growing look of coldness for the first time, coldness in her face. Yes, now I am beginning to understand thoroughly. For the first time, I understand myself. For the first time, I am capable of excavating these energies from within. For the first time, I can talk freely with you and express myself deliberately. Walking about the room, what a horrible awakening. All these 8 years, a lie of 8 years. An 8 years lie. She who was my joy and pride, a hypocrite. Nora is a hypocrite, a liar, worse, a liar, worse. No, she's not even a hypocrite or a liar. She's a criminal, because she has forged a letter. She has forged a signature. She is a forger, a criminal, the unutterable ugliness of it all. For shame, for shame. Nora is silent and looks still at him. He stops in front of her and says, I ought to have suspected that something of the sort would happen. Why? I ought to have foreseen it. How? All your father's want of principle. Oh. So he refers to or alludes to the fact that she must have inherited that from her father. It's in the blood, according to him. It's in her blood. Her father's want of principle. Here, want means lack of. Your father's, you must have inherited this from your father's lack of principles. Be silent. All your father's want of principle has come out in you. No religion, no morality, no sense of duty. Look how many crimes she has committed in his own description. He did. How I am punished for having winked at what he did. I did it for your sake. And this is how you repay me? Yes, that's just it. Now you have destroyed all my happiness. You have ruined all my future. It is horrible to think of. I am in the power of an unscrupulous man. I am under the control of an unscrupulous man. Who is Krugstad? Okay? He can do what he likes with me now. Ask anything he likes of me. He can do anything now. Give me any orders he pleases. I dare not refuse. I can't. And I must sink. I must sink to such miserable depths. By that he means a socio-moral downfall. I must sink to such miserable depths because of a thoughtless woman like you. You caused my own downfall, my own social and moral downfall. When I'm out of the way, you will be free, Torvald. No fine speeches, no more. Please, your father had always plenty of those fine speeches, of those ready too. What good would it be to me if you were out of the way? It is useless if you leave, as you say, not the slightest. He can make the affair known everywhere. I will be exposed if the secret is revealed by him. I may be falsely suspected of having been a party to your criminal action. People might think I am part of that. Very likely people will think I was behind it all, that I pushed you to do it. that it was I who prompted you, who incited you to do so. And I have to thank you for all this. You are the responsible one. You whom I have cherished during the whole of our married life. Do you understand now what it is you have done for me? Coldly and quietly, yes. It is so incredible that I can't take it in. But pay attention, this is very important. But we must come to some understanding. We must agree to something. Okay? Take off that towel. Take it off. Stay. I tell you, I must try and appease him some way or another, convince him. The matter must be hushed up. The matter must be silenced, must be kept secret as it was, at any cost. And as for you and me, it must appear. خلي بالك. Okay, take care. It must appear. The relationship between you and me must appear as if everything between us were as before. Nothing has changed. In the eyes of the people, in the eyes of the society. But naturally, only in the eyes of the world. By the world, he means the society. Okay? In the front of the society. You will still remain in my house. That is a matter of course. That is undebatable, unquestionable. You remain. You stay. But I shall not allow you to bring up the children. You will never have the chance to raise my children, to infect, to disease. Remember when he told her that a mother can infect her children? To disease, to infect my children. I dare not trust them to you. You are now untrustworthy. To think that I should be obliged to say it so to one whom I have loved so dearly, and whom I still know that's all over. No, I don't. I am not in love with you anymore. From this moment, happiness isn't the question. I don't care about happiness. All that concerns us is to save the remains. Save the remains. The fragments. The appearance. All he cares about is his appearance, his image in the society. At this moment, now on page 108, at this moment, during this conversation, a letter comes, a new letter indeed, comes in, is delivered to the house through the maid, and this letter contains the bond which is forged by Nora, sent by Krugstad. Helmer says, "Give it to me," page 108. "Give it to me," takes the letter and shuts the door. "Yes, it is from him. It is from him. You shan't have it. I will read it myself." "Yes, read it." Standing by the lamp, "I scarcely have the courage to do it. It may mean ruin for both of us." "No, I must know." Tears up in the letter, runs his eye over a few lines, reads quickly, very quickly, looks at a paper enclosed. Krugstad enclosed the paper inside the letter. يعني أرفق كريستاد أرفق بالخطاب ورقة. الورقة دي هي الوصل. This enclosed paper inside the letter is the bond. Okay, and gives a shout of joy. He gives a shout of joy. "Nora!" She looks at him questioningly. "Nora, no, I must read it once again. He can't believe that. This is good news." "Yes, it's true. I am saved." Look, he says, "I am saved." Not my house or my family or even Nora, because she is going to take all the blame. Maybe she's going to jail. Still, he is saved. I am saved. He is so selfish. Okay? I am saved. And I. What about me, Helmer? You too, of course. We are both saved. Both saved. Both you and I. Okay? Look, he sends you your bond back. He says he regrets and repents what he has done to you. And he sent the bond to you. So then Helmer says, try to find that. Helmer says, and suffered agonies and seen no way out but, okay, the fourth line, when he says, it's all over. It's all over. Listen to me, Nora. You don't seem to realize that it's all over. Our miserable agony is now all over with the bond in our hands. Such a cold, set face. My poor little Nora, I can understand. You don't feel as if you could believe that I have forgiven you. Now I forgive you, Nora. But it's true, Nora. I swear it. I have forgiven you. Don't be afraid. You stay. And I forgive you. Everything, for everything. I know that what you did. You did out of love for me. But it's too late. She has come to a real understanding of herself. His forgiveness is useless now. It's too late. She expected the kind of forgiveness before the bond arrives, before Krugstad's letter gets in the house. But he fails her. Helmer fails Nora. Helmer lets her down. He disappoints her. بيخيب ظنها فيه when he shows those selfish attitudes of caring only about himself and his image in the society, the house, and he didn't care about Nora. Then go to page 111. 111. Nora went in to change her clothes. He thinks that she's going to change her dress and puts on sleeping dress, but she doesn't. Indeed, on page number 111, Nora in everyday dress. Yes, Torvald, I have changed my things now. I have changed the dress. I put off the dress which I have put on for so many years, for 8 years. I put off the role, the function I have been doing all throughout my years with you. I quit. But what for? Why do you dress like that? So late of this? You want to go out so late? I shall not sleep tonight. But dear Nora, looking at her watch, it is not so very late. The time isn't, it is not very late yet. Sit down here, Torvald. You and I have much to say to one another. Now, what is this? This cold, set face. Nora has, at this moment, a cold, set face. Here the word set, cold, it means resolute, unchanging face. She is so resolute. هي عازمة أو عاقدة العزم على فعل شيء. واضح على وشها. Okay, sit down. It will take some time. I have a lot to talk over with you. They sit together. Nora says, no, that is just it. You don't understand me, and I have never understood you either before tonight. No, you mustn't interrupt me. You must simply listen to what I say. For the first time, she declares her ability to speak. She expresses her courage in the front of this self-absorbed husband. This is settling of accounts. What do you mean by that? Isn't there one thing that strikes you as a stranger in our sitting here like this? What is that? We have been married now 8 years. Does it now occur to you that this is the first time we two, you and I, husband and wife, have had a serious conversation like that? For the first time in 8 years, she feels for the first time the sense of a wife, that she is a real wife with a husband in which they can exchange speech and dialogue. Throughout her life, she's always been listening to him, to his commands and orders. But now she speaks fairly to him. Then, in another part, maybe on next page in your textbook, Nora says, that is just it. You have never understood me. You have never understood me. I have been greatly wronged. I have been greatly wronged. It means that you have caused suffering to me. You have injured or harmed me, Torvald, first by Papa and then by you. You and Papa were the sources of my suffering during my entire life. You caused me sufferance and harm. Males, Papa and him, males, cause the sufferance of women by keeping women inside, keeping them as if they were dolls in their hands. By us two, who have loved you better than anyone else in the whole world, you have never loved me. You have only thought it pleasant to be in love with me. What do I hear you saying? He can't believe that. He can't believe what he's listening to. It's perfectly true. So when I was at home with Papa, he told me his opinion about everything. And so I have the same opinions. And if I differed from him, I conceal the fact, because he wouldn't have liked it. He called me, this is very important, he called me his dull child. He called me his dull child, and he played with me just as I used to play with my dolls. And when I came to live with you, what sort of an expression is that to use about our marriage? Do you call our marriage a kind of a game, a play, a theater? Nora, I mean that I was simply transferred. Underline this part, it's very, very important. I was simply transferred as a property from Papa's hands into yours, as if I had no identity of my own, no separate identity. I have a separate identity. I have my own thinking, my own morals, my own life. You arranged everything according to your own taste, and so I got the same tastes as you, or else I pretended to. I am really not quite sure which. I think sometimes one and sometimes the other. When I look back on it, on this history, it seems to me as if I have been living here like a poor woman, just from hand to mouth, as if she were an animal serving in a house. I have existed merely to perform tricks for you, Torvald, but you would have it so. You and Papa have committed a great sin. You have wronged me. Remember this word before? Wronged me. Again she repeats it. You have committed a great sin against me. It is your fault that I have made nothing of my life. Then Helmer says to her, in a moment of anger, why do you pay any heed to that? I tell you, he means that I said that in a moment of anger to you, when he blamed her that she committed such a sin, such moral and social sin, her borrowing from Christad and her forgery. Helmer says, in a moment of anger, find that, try to find that, try to locate that in your textbook. In a moment of anger, Why do you pay any heed to that? Any heed means any attention to that. Why do you care? Indeed, you are perfectly right. I am not fit for the task. There is another task I must undertake first. So Nora's priorities have changed. It's a kind of transformation, life transformation, a metamorphosis. Read about metamorphosis. Okay? There is another task, another mission I must undertake, I must do first. I must try and educate myself. I must try and educate myself. So she seeks an intellectual enlightenment, independence, social, political independence, social and political independence, and at the same time, she seeks an intellectual enlightenment. You are not the man to help me in that. I must do that for myself. And that is why I'm going to leave you now. She's going to leave to obtain her identity, her social, moral, and political rights, as well as an intellectual enlightenment. An intellectual enlightenment. And so she decides to leave. The remaining part of the play is an intimate conversation between husband and wife in which he tries to convince her to stay, but she insists on leaving. She insists on finding her own true identity. She will no more play that part in Torvald's life. She will no more be his doll, despite the horrible consequences that might bring upon her many pains and sufferances. Thank you, dear students. I hope you find this effective and enlightening as well. Thank you.